So we're going to start off by doing flexion. Flexion is when we bend. So we're bringing the chin to the chest. Feel free to close the eyes here. And we're going to let the chin rest on the chest and just be nice and long here. That normal range of flexion is 60 degrees. We have 60 degrees of movement here. And flexion is when we're bending. So we're going to move along in this plane. You can keep the eyes closed and move the head up to where it is regularly, and then move it back down so the chin rests against the chest. And moving with the breath in that direction a few times. Back up and back down, nice and slowly. There are times when you might wake up and something feels a little bit off in your neck. It could be the way that you slept. It could be a postural issue. If you're sitting at a computer or a device and your head and neck are hinging forward a lot. If you'd like, rather than a straight line, you can bring the head and neck up into the upper right quadrant and then back down to the chest. Back up to center, and then back down to the chest, and then to the upper left quadrant. Notice how that feels, and then back to the chest. So this is flexion. We've got 60 degrees. So we're going to come back to neutral. And 3-finger rule that I like to use with extension. So have your 3 fingers handy, bring them right back to the back of the neck. With extension, we bring the head back, and where you kind of crunch the fingers, that's about as far as you want to go. So we have 75 degrees in our normal range here. So that's a lot of movement. So there is room here with all of that movement to have issues back here. So if we don't use 3 fingers and we go way back, we are cutting off a supply of blood and oxygen. There is a big vertebral artery back there. So that's why I always teach with 3-finger rule. So go back and forth. Feel free to close the eyes and just move along that plane. Notice how that feels. Also think about when you go to get your hair cut and you're putting your head back and they're washing your head goes really far back there. And there is a lot of research about people who have had a stroke and they've just had their hair done, believe it or not, because your head is going so far back and you're cutting off that supply of blood and oxygen. So just something to be aware of, nothing to be frightened of, but just something to be aware of in terms of how you're moving and how you move throughout your day. So we're going to come back to neutral now, and then feel free to close the eyes, and we're going to turn the head to look over the right shoulder. We are in rotation here. I'll take a few breaths here. And you have 80 available degrees of rotation. That's a lot. And then we'll come back to center, and then we'll move the head to look over the other shoulder. 80 on this side as well. And then we'll make our way back to center. And now we're going to be lowering our right ear toward the right shoulder. So that is lateral flexion. So we're bending and we're moving laterally, lateral flexion. And we've got 45 degrees on each side of lateral flexion. So just breathe and relax the shoulders, allow the ear to draw down. Notice how it feels. You may want to move around a little bit if that feels comfortable. If it feels a little tweaky, then maybe stay still. And then as you're ready, slowly come back up to center. And then we're going to slowly allow left ear toward left shoulder. And we're just going to breathe and relax on this side. Softening the face, really bringing the breath into this. Lateral flexion here. And then as you're ready, we're going to make our way back up to center. And because we're moving in all directions, we are going to shift the head and neck back. So the idea is we're creating a double chin, something you don't do in pictures. You try to get that double chin out of your pictures. But you inhale and shift the head straight back. You could have your finger on your nose, or you could make a fist on your forehead if that helps with the movement. And then release, and we'll inhale and shift the head and neck back. And release, last time, one more, inhale, shift back, aligning the cervical spine over the thoracic spine. And then release. I'll do a little jiggle of the head, jiggle it around a little bit. And actually this works to move into our next movement because we're going to make some circles. So close the eyes and imagine you're drawing a circle with your nose against the far wall. So start off small and then begin to make the circle bigger. Moving within your own range of motion. Only you know what your range of motion is for today. And a lot will depend on that. Sometimes it's a pillow. Sometimes it's the way that you've slept. And then pause and we'll reverse. Start off small and get a little bit bigger. And then we'll make our way back to neutral, keeping the eyes closed, different head and neck movement. Imagine there's a marble on the top of your head and you're doing just some small circular motions to keep that marble on your head. This does feel a little bit different than the last circular motion. Different nerves, different muscles. And then reverse. And then we'll